just want to preface this video by making it very clear, guys. Iran is not a Muslim country. So I know there's this huge misconception, which is actually very racist and xenophobic coming from Muslims, right? The biggest victim blamers around the world outside of the Alphabet Mafia. Whenever you actually look at Iran and you take a deeper look, they're far from being a majority Muslim state, guys. They're not like Saudi Arabia. They're not like Iraq. They're not like all these other nations who proclaim to be Islamic nations, because whenever you look at Iran, only about 1/3 of their population is actually Muslim. In fact, a lot of their population is agnostic, atheist, Christian. You have also other religions. And it's just like whenever you look at Iran, most of their demographic isn't made up of Islam. And so it just makes it very interesting, because you see this whole like stuff that everyone's trying to spin on the media narrative that, oh, Iran, they very much hate Jews, and they just love Palestinians, and these Israelis are getting what they they're getting what they should, and these Israelis, it's finally time that someone teaches them a lesson. And guys, that's not the reality, because if you guys aren't aware, a lot of Iranians would actually side with Israel before they would with Palestine, because again, Iran is not a Muslim country. Yes, they are in the Middle East, but they are not a Muslim country. The only thing that kind of technically makes them a Muslim country is the fact that their leader is quote unquote Muslim, or at least, in other words, he's another Middle Eastern country who uses Muslim as a materialistic, militaristic, politicized religion to gain a political authority. But in reality, he's not actually a Muslim. Let's be real, guys. A lot of these Islamic leaders in the Middle East aren't truly genuinely Muslim. They just kind of use it for their own gain militaristically and politically, right? But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But whenever you look at the actual Iranian people, they aren't Muslim. So then the title comes in, how will the US start World War III with Iran and Russia? Well, it gets a little more complex than that, because as you guys may know, a lot of tensions have been brewing as of recently, But before I go ahead and get into how World War III could occur, I want to go ahead and show you guys evidence for my claim, so no one says I'm just making this up. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys valid evidence for what I'm saying. This right here, what I'm about to show you guys, is Iran. That right there, guys, is the American flag. Notice how they're not stepping on it. All these Iranians have so much respect, right, for America, or they're not like their government where they disrespectfully hate America, that they just walk over the flag. That's called political maturity, guys. I mean, look, even if they disagree with America, some of them maybe, they don't have enough, savageness to go ahead and just walk on the American flag from a total different country that they have nothing to deal with. Right? And so look how they all just walk around it. And then there's photos, which I can't show you, unfortunately, because of YouTube. But basically, they basically have their shoes around the flag because they're entering into like a place. I believe it's a holy religious site. And basically, they all have their shoes lined up outside of the American flag. Very, very interesting, guys, for a country that hates America and that hates Israel. I find that very odd and interesting because it goes against the mainstream narrative. And here's another clip, guys, to go ahead and prove my claim. So as you guys can see, a lot of these crowds in Iran, look what they say. I don't know about you guys, but this doesn't seem very pro-Palestine to me. And so, first of all, before I even get into this video, this is why I brought this up, because I want to kind of refute the narrative and the philosophy that Iran and just the whole Middle East is pro-Islamic and, anti-Israel, because that's far from the truth, guys. Now, it's made to appear so, and a lot of leaders might appear a certain way so that they can stay in political power. But a lot of these Islamic leaders, I shall say, that proclaim to be Muslim inwardly, guys, they actually don't follow Islam, guys. And they actually disagree with it. And it's very interesting because we even see individuals like the Saudi prince, for example. He literally speaks against Iran. And he says that they're actually a threat to the whole world. So this isn't some bigoted Christian's viewpoint, because I know a lot of Muslims will say, oh, look at you. You're so fascinated about Islam. Look at you just talking about Islam for viewership. Look at you. You're the biggest hater of Islam. No, I'm not, guys. I'm not the biggest hater of Islam. Trust me, I'm far from it. And what I'm doing is I'm exposing the reality, the truth that the mainstream media won't share with you guys. And so these are his words, not mine. Mohammed bin Salman.
For centuries. At its heart, what is this rift about? Is it a battle for Islam?
Iran is not a rival to Saudi Arabia. Its army is not among the top 5 armies in the Muslim world. The Saudi economy is larger than the Iranian economy. Iran is far from being equal to Saudi Arabia.
But I've seen that you called the Ayatollah Khamenei the new Hitler of the Middle East.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because he wants to expand. He wants to create his own project in the Middle East, very much like Hitler, who wanted to expand at the time. Many countries around the world and in Europe did not realize how dangerous Hitler was until what happened. I don't want to see the same events happening in the Middle East.
Does Saudi Arabia need nuclear weapons to counter Iran?
Saudi Arabia does not want to acquire any nuclear bomb. But without a doubt, if Iran developed a nuclear bomb, we will follow suit as soon as possible.
Exactly, guys. Yep. So for such a pro-Islamic country to go against another Islamic country, I find that very fascinating, that he would openly speak against another Islamic nation when there's so many other Christian nations and non-Islamic nations he could speak against. So guys, here's the reality, guys, and this is the truth. Yes, there are many nations that are maybe very Islamic, and I agree. I'm not denying that if you go to Iran or Saudi Arabia or these other nations, because I know there's going to be a Karen that takes my words out of context, I do realize if you go to these nations, we will be persecuted as Christians. I don't think I have to go into much detail of that. But what I am saying is there is a very real reality in these nations that some of these nations, including Saudi Arabia and Iran, a majority of their population inwardly and secretly aren't actually practicing Muslims. And in fact, there's a lot of closeted Christians and atheists and Hindus and other religions, and they just don't openly express it because it's against the law to practice anything else outside of Islam. And so this is why when we look at such a progressive country, for example, Saudi Arabia, and once a progressive country like Iran, we know Iran, the majority of the population is non-Muslim. Over 70% of the population is non-Muslim. And then whenever we look at Saudi Arabia, we see there's a lot of people, that seem to be very progressive as well, very pro-Christian, pro-non-Islamic, and things of this nature, as, the Saudi prince becomes a little more progressive as time goes by. So I find it very, very interesting, guys, because there's definitely a correlation there. It just goes to show you that Islam is in shambles. So don't let the devil fool you, guys. A lot of people are leaving Islam in big numbers. But the issue as well, guys, is people are afraid to leave Islam because we do know and realize that Islam, everywhere it goes, it brings death and hell with it. This is what it tells us in the book of Revelation when we look at the 4 horsemen. And I truly do genuinely believe that when we look at Islam, it's genuinely a great example and representation of the 4 horsemen: the red, the white, the green, and the black. Right? And we can go ahead and play semantics, but you guys get the concept that I'm trying to make, right? And what I'm delivering. And so it's very, very fascinating. So whenever I say the USA could potentially start World War III with Iran and Russia, whenever I ask that question in the title, I would say it's definitely a possibility. I'm not God. I can't say no. But I definitely do think that there's a lot more support for Israel from other nations than might be portrayed in the media. So a lot of us see the media saying, oh, everybody hates, Israel and they're pro-Palestine. And, this is the agenda and the propaganda they're trying to push. But I definitely do think that there are a lot of people that are also very pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian. And it's not necessarily being anti-Palestinian. It's not that we're racist or xenophobic. It's more about being anti-Islam. Because Islam doesn't just want to take over Israel. They also want to expand across the whole world. And this is not my words. This is his. This is literally what Mohammed bin Salman said. He literally said that if you look at Iran, Iran literally wants to dominate the whole world. They want to spread across the whole world. This is what they want to do. So it's not going to end with Israel. It's going to continue to Saudi Arabia, to Egypt, and the list goes on. Oman, Yemen. It's a disease and a cancer to our society and to our world. And this is the reality of Islam, and this is what it wants. It wants world domination. And they're using war as an excuse to go ahead and take more land. But the reality is, guys, as much as you may like or dislike specific countries, the reality is, guys, Israel is a very small nation going against a huge nation like Iran and Russia and China, and now North Korea might get in the mix. And so we, as the USA, we have allied relations with Israel because they're like the only pretty much non-Islamic country in the Middle East. However, there are other countries like Saudi Arabia and things of that nature that kind of like they claim to be Muslim just so that they can stay in political power and things of that nature. There's a lot of geopolitical issues there in their geographical location. But in reality, let's be real, MBS, he's not really a Muslim, right? And so we do have some relations to certain Middle Eastern countries such as Saudi Arabia and Israel and the USA. And those have been developing as the years have gone by. But the reality is, guys, if they go to war with Israel, this could potentially be a war with NATO or the USA, and it could cause World War III. It's a big possibility. And so I find that very, very, very interesting that a lot of people are just kind of like sugarcoating this and making it seem like it's just an Israel-Palestine thing, or, oh, it's just Israel and Iran thing. No, guys, this is a huge war. Because if Russia and Iran are trying to wipe Israel off the face of the map, guess who else will get involved? The allies of Israel. And so we're in a very, very interesting dynamic now, because I don't know if you guys have heard, but recently, because Iran actually threatened to attack Israel just a few days ago, now a lot of people don't want to do business with Israel and things of that nature. And Israel is losing a lot of money because people are afraid. They're like, when is Iran going to attack? Iran said that they're going to attack Israel, but they're just not saying when. They want to do it by surprise. And they said when they do attack, they're going to absolutely obliterate Israel. And so a lot of people are afraid to do business with Israel right now. And so they're losing a lot of money. So I really do foresee, and I'm not by any means saying I'm a prophet, but I'm just saying, using wisdom and just knowledge of what's going on, and from what I've seen in the past, it does appear as if America and Israel, they are going to come up with an excuse or a reason, and not saying that they're justified or not justified. So again, please don't take my words out of context. But I think that Israel and America will come up with a reason as to how they can go to war with Iran before Iran strikes them first. Because if Iran strikes us first, then it could be very devastating, and we in Israel and America could lose a lot of money economically. So I think there's just a lot of factors to consider, guys. It could also be the other way around. And, you know, maybe they do want America and Israel to attack first, because if we attack first, guess what happens, guys? Then we look like the bad guys, and they're going to say, everyone, go against America, go against Israel. Look how they devastatingly attacked Iran, and this is going to allow Russia and North Korea and China to go to war with us, and this could cause World War III. That's what I'm saying, guys. And so there's just a lot of things in the picture that people just, they don't seem to see, because people are just so close-minded and people want to live in their little bubbles. But guys, this is all, like, honestly, a lot of prophecies will be fulfilled, and God does make it clear there will be a time for Israel, a time of desolation. And in no way am I saying that this specific war will be that time of desolation, or this specific year will be the time of desolation. But all I can say is that it is coming soon, because we do know in the next few years, whether that's 5 years or 20 years, we do know that tensions are building a lot, and tensions are like literally an all-time high. And because of that, I definitely could see the time of desolation for Israel coming soon, where God will, unfortunately, after protecting them for all these years, there will be a time when all these other nations will have an opportunity, in the Eastern nations, to go ahead and attack Israel. And this is when the Israelis will have the opportunity to accept their Hamashiach Messiah as their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I just want to go ahead and thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please smash that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, share it with someone that you believe this could be edifying for, and don't forget to become a member on our patreon.com/NateBornAgain. I appreciate all your support, guys, and it's only $4.99, the price of a Starbucks coffee or less than a gallon of gas. You guys can help me every month for $5, so I appreciate all your support. Thank you guys so much.